Welcome to a brand new episode of Johnson's Court and Blue Hate Streamers. Today I'm excited to bring you NBA playoff basketball. Today, just kind of give you a little rewind to get started. Last time we made a podcast, it was me, Beagle, and we brought you the first round of the playoffs and what we thought our predictions were going to be. The first round is now over. This podcast meant to come out before the second round got started, but that's okay. We're still going to talk about it, and a few games have been played, but I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it and continue to talk about the second round, what my predictions are, and who I think is going to move on to the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals. And you know what? The first round was amazing. It was exciting to see so much playoff basketball happening, and I love to see it. But before I get into that, I also wanted to talk about the awards because all the awards are now given out for the 2021 season. And we'll go ahead and start with Coach of the Year, which Coach of the Year was Tom Thibodeau, and he is the coach of the New York Knicks, and they had a record as 41-31, and they made the playoffs as a 4 seed, and they played the Atlanta Hawks, and trust me, I'll get to that and talk about how that went because it didn't go the way that I predicted, but I think Tom Thibodeau definitely deserved to win Coach of the Year with bringing the Knicks finally into the playoffs since 2012, 2013 when Carmelo Anthony was on the Knicks. So it's just awesome to see that the Knicks are finally starting to win, be in the playoffs, and Julius Randle was able to, really be the factor of that team and get them to the playoffs. But that leads me to right into my next point of the 2021 most improved player, which was Julius Randle. His stats from that were field goal shooting wise, 45%, my bad. Points per game were 24, rebounds 10.2, and blocks per game 0.3. And so I think he deserved the most improved, especially from breaking his leg the first season in the NBA when he was on the Lakers, got drafted by him, and now to be on the Knicks and, like I said, bring him to the playoffs. And so it was just great and amazing to see. Last year, Brandon Ingram was the most improved player, and they got that right as well. So really good to see that the NBA is being consistent with the most improved player award. That's what I was trying to say. And go ahead and move on to the next award, which is the Sixth Man of the Year. Sixth Man of the Year award went to Jordan Clarkson, and I know that it was between Jordan Clarkson and I think Joe Ingles and Derrick Rose, I believe. And Jordan Clarkson walks away with this. His field goal per shooting was 42%, so about 43. It says 42.5. Points per game, 18.4, rebounds 4, and assists 2.5. And I think Jordan Clarkson, he was on the Lakers as well, played with Kobe, and he's doing really well for himself, being the Sixth Man of the Year. Lou Williams won it twice in a row in 2018 and 2019. So he was a good Sixth Man as well. Montrezl Harrell, he won it last year, and he is now on the Lakers. Kind of funny, but it's good to see that Jordan Clarkson won. I think he did deserve it. I forget who. Oh, no, okay, I said who was between. So, Joe Ingles could have won it, I guess. But, fan favorite. Everyone wanted Derrick Rose to win. But just awesome to see Jordan Clarkson win the Sixth Man of the Year award, and hopefully he can do more than that in the league and maybe win a championship this year with the Jazz because they are looking great in the playoffs so far. Next, we'll talk about Rookie of the Year. Rookie of the Year was... Oh, they have not gave that out yet. They have not gave out Rookie of the Year. So excited to see who's going to win that exactly because last year's champion was Ja Morant. And so it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to win Rookie of the Year this year because they can be between so many people, LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards, which they haven't gave this out yet. And that, to me, believes that there's going to be a co-Rookie of the Year. And I've kind of been saying that all year long, just the way that, you got the fan favorite with LaMelo and what he was able to do on the Hornets, even though he's very young. Same with Anthony Edwards, but he was just dominant this year, playing a lot of minutes for Timberwolves. I know he had one poster versus the Raptors. I don't know how many more he had, but he's playing really well, averaging a lot of points. So, like I said, I think it's probably going to be a Rookie of the Year, but we'll see. The NBA could prove me wrong. But I'll go ahead and talk about the next award, which is the Defense Player of the Year. Not really surprised who won this award, which was Rudy Gobert, and his field goal percentage was 67, points per game 14.3, rebounds 13.5, and blocks were 2.7. Not sure if he was second or third, but I know Miles Turner led the league in all blocks this year with above three something. So, but Rudy has won this award in the past. He won in 2018 and in 2019. Giannis took it home last year, so Rudy couldn't win it 3 years in a row, but he is a dominant force down in the paint. But a lot of people aren't scared to try and dunk on him and whatnot, and we saw this with Ja Morant on the Grizzlies facing the Jazz in the first round, which that was a pretty good series to watch. Not the Jazz, but the Grizzlies are a young team, so fortunately they didn't make it out. But it was really good to see them in the playoffs. And, we're going to talk about the last award. Who won it this year, the 2021 MVP, and that was Nikola Jokic. He comes in shooting 56% as a center. Points per game, 26.4, rebounds, 10.8, and 0.7 blocks. The three players who were in contingent for the MVP was Nikola, Joel Embiid, and Stephen Curry. And I know a lot of people wanted to pick Stephen Curry because, it's, like I said, kind of a fan favorite as well. But he didn't get it, and I understand why he didn't get it because he really started balling and was playing well, but he didn't do it till later half of the season. So he just happened to end up not winning it. But, that's okay. It happens. But, he did play well, and can't wait to see that Warriors team healthy when they all come back. Well, really Clay and Joe Wiseman, he got hurt. But, Joel Embiid, he was a good candidate as well, and they're playing in the second round, and right now they are playing they're playing the Hawks, actually, and so that's a good series, so it's going to be a fun one to watch. But Giannis could have been a three-time MVP champion, but he wasn't, so Nikola Jokic won it this year, and I believe the NBA got it right, and I'm super excited to see that. And so that wraps up the awards, except for the Rookie of the Year, but that will hopefully come out soon, and we'll see what happens there. But we'll go ahead on to the next segment, and I guess I should say the final segment. But we'll start in the East of the playoffs, and I'll kind of give a recap of who won, and I'll tell you if my predictions were right or wrong. I don't remember how many games I said would win and what, so you can't quote me on that, but I'll go ahead and get right into it. So the first matchup was the Philadelphia 76ers versus Washington Wizards, the 1 seed versus the 8 seed. And the not the Wizards, but I wish the Wizards would have won this series. That would have been kind of cool to see the 8 seed beat the 1 seed, but just wasn't going to happen, what they're able to do. So the 76ers win this series 4-1. And I kind of figured it'd be something like that just because the 76ers were just so much more dominant. I mean, Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook were starting to play really good together, but just didn't have enough star power to beat the 76ers. So the 76ers were able to move on to the second round. And then to play them in the second round were the Atlanta Hawks. They were able to beat the New York Knicks, which I had the Knicks winning this series. I had it potentially going 7, just because I feel like this was probably one of the best series in the East to watch, and I think it was. But unfortunately, Knicks let me down. The Hawks, a younger team, were able to beat them 4-1. To see Trae Young balling and take a game at Madison Square Garden, hush the crowd, ice in his veins. Just kind of crazy what he was able to do. And now they're playing the 76ers, and we'll talk about that series, but it's tied 1-1, and crazy to see, and super excited to see who wins that series because it potentially could be a toss-up. Milwaukee Bucks at a 3 seed played the Miami Heat. They were a 6 seed this year, who played the Lakers last year in the NBA Finals and lost to them. But this series did not go the way that I expected. Winning wise, I figured the Bucks would win this one, but I didn't think that they would sweep the Heat. But I don't know, they just didn't play well. The Heat just didn't play well in the playoffs this year, and so they got swept 4-0. Just kind of crazy, but Giannis and the Bucks, were just a better team and were able to take that series. So the Bucks moved on. And then the final matchup in the first round were the Brooklyn Nets versus the Boston Celtics. And The Nets were able to take this one 4-1. I kind of saw the Brooklyn Nets either taking it 4-1, maybe a sweep, maybe the Celtics, they play out of their mind. They can win 2 games possibly, but they only won 1 here. And, that was thanks to Jason Tatum. But Nets just have too much star power, so definitely saw them winning this one, and they did. And so they're going on to the second round to play the Milwaukee Bucks, and I will get into that here in a second once I go through the Western Conference and the first round over here. So we'll just get right into it. And we will talk about the Utah Jazz versus the Memphis Grizzlies. That's the 1 versus 8 seed. And the Jazz were able to take this series 4-1. I didn't know what exactly it was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be 4-2. I didn't, 4-2 I could have saw. Not really 4-3 or anything like that. Not forced into 7 games just because the Jazz were better. But, Grizzlies' young team fought hard. It was really good to see. Jaw tried to poster Rudy, but didn't happen. But he tried. But the Jazz were just able to play really well. I know, they didn't have Donovan Mitchell game 1. So I think that's the only game that Memphis took, I believe. I'm not really sure. I'd have to check back on that. But they did take 1 game, and that was the only game they were able to take. And so the Jazz were able to move on pretty easily to the second round. And then with that, the Clippers on the 4 seed, Los Angeles Clippers, faced the Dallas Mavericks, and they played last year in the first round as well, and the same outcome came. The Clippers were able to win. This time it went to 7 games. Luka played well last year, and he played good this year. Porzingis got hurt last year, but this year he didn't really play that much. I heard there was kind of like rumors that he's not very happy and whatnot, and we'll just kind of see what happens with that exactly. But the Clippers were able to win this in 7 games. They were down, I don't think they were down 3-1, but they might have been down 3-2, and they were able to come back and beat the Mavericks. And so I think they have the most pressure to make it out of the West now because the Lakers are gone. And I kind of didn't really want to talk about that. Kind of hurts the heart a little bit, but, got to talk about it. And so the Clippers they did move on to the second round, and they play the Jazz, and I'll get into that. And then on the lower half of the bracket, we had the Denver Nuggets of the 3 seed play the Portland Trailblazers of the 6 seed. And kind of surprised me here just because Jamal Murray was hurt for the Nuggets. He's out for the year. So I wasn't sure if the Nuggets were going to win this series or not. I felt it was kind of a toss-up a little bit, but I had favored the Trailblazers, but they ended up losing 4-2. So in 6 games, Jokic, they had a lot of good games. Jokic, I would, definitely carried in this game. Michael Porter Jr. Played really good in this series, so he was able to really be the player that he needs to be. But yeah, I thought the Trailblazers were just going to be able to take a series with Jamal Murray not being there, but that was not the case, and so the Nuggets win 4-2, and they move on to the second round. This one kind of hurts to talk about a little bit, but the Phoenix Suns played the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Suns were able to beat the Lakers 4-2. This was a good series to start off, but it definitely could have went a lot better. But unfortunately, in Game 5, AD pulled his groin, and then he was questionable to play Game 6, and he did play Game 6, but he definitely should have, and we all kind of saw that he was not ready to play. With a groin injury, it takes 1 or 2 weeks. I've had that, and I definitely know that, you cannot play the same day, like I said. So it's a 1-2 week injury, and, he's playing into playoff time, so I understand he wants to play. He wants to win a championship for the Lakers, but with the games just being so close in the next round, just all these games being really close, you can't really have a big injury like that and, expect to play and help your team. But I thought we had enough players, enough star power to beat the Suns, but that didn't happen. Devin Booker played well. Chris Paul, the Chris Paul effect, he brought him to a 2 seed, and now he was able to bring him on and move him to the second round. And like I said, it hurts to talk about since AD got hurt. But, congrats to the Suns. I am rooting for them to win it all. I would love to see Chris Paul get a ring, but, I'll talk later about or not in this podcast, but later about who's going to win it all. But, it's just the Suns are just the funnest team to watch. And when I say that, I think they're the funnest team to watch. And I think that, if they keep playing well and have good team chemistry and do everything they're able to do, especially the way Chris Paul is able to play, because, he was kind of an underdog MVP, a lot of people thought. So if he can keep that up and Devin Booker stays healthy and, that whole, like I said, that whole team just plays well, then, they can make it to the championship. So I'll go ahead and talk about the East and bring it back to the West, and I'll end with this, the Suns in the second round. But in the conference semis, you have the 76ers playing the Atlanta Hawks, and this is a 1 seed versus a 5 seed. The series is tied 1-1. Hawks were able to take game 1, and then the 76ers were able to take game 2. Crazy to think that the Hawks took game 1. I'm not sure if Embiid played at all or if he played a lot, or I think he got hurt or something like that. And so, they were able to just, play really well and able to take game 1. The Hawks were. But this series, I definitely do see possibly going the distance. It could go 7. It's already 1-1. So, it just depends on who wins and stuff like that. So they are coming back to the A. To give my prediction, I would say, obviously you want to say the 76ers just because they're a better team, but, I think you just got to pick the underdog here, and you got to go with the Atlanta Hawks here, and I think the Atlanta Hawks will beat them. If they play well and play how they should beat them in 6, but I see this going 7. I see the Hawks winning in 7. If not, the 76ers winning in 6. But Hawks in 7, and that is what I'm going to lock in. Moving down to the lower bracket, we have the Milwaukee Bucks playing the Brooklyn Nets. This should be a great matchup. I'm excited to watch it. I think their game's actually playing right now, game 3. But the Brooklyn Nets are winning 2-0, and I don't know how that game 3 is going right now, but just kind of crazy to think that the Nets are up 2-0. Game 3 is in Milwaukee, so we'll see if Milwaukee can win at home, because that is huge. The Nets were able to win at their home, and see if the Bucks are able to win at their home. Game 1 and Game 2, Milwaukee just hasn't played well. The Nets, James Harden went out. I'm not sure what quarter it was, but with a hamstring injury, re-agitated it. But Kevin Durant's balling, Kyrie's balling, and so they're up 2-0. If I had to give a prediction before they were even up 2-0, I would say this would go 6, and hopefully it still does go 6. So, but I see the Nets winning in 6. And then to go to the West, it is the Utah Jazz versus the Clippers. So we have 1 versus 4 seed, and the Jazz are up right now 1-0. Just the way the Clippers play, man. They fall behind, and that's what they did to the Mavericks, but they were able to come back, luckily. But, if Paul George just doesn't play better, and, not just even Paul George, but that just whole team in general just, needs to play better. Reggie Jackson, he was stepping up a few games. Kawhi Leonard, he's going to do what he's got to do. But the whole team, Tyronn Lue's a coach, and if you want to be considered a coach, like a real good coach, you really need to, make a statement here, especially since you were LeBron's coach for a while, and we all know who coached that team. But I need to see the Clippers, really do something this year. Maybe they move on to the second round. I don't know, but I'm not going to take them on to the second round. Maybe a lot of people are, but I'm not. I'm going to say the Jazz win this. Yeah, they're up 1-0, but I'm going to say the Jazz win this in 6. It could go 7 like the Mavs were able to force it to 7 with the Clippers, but I think the Jazz, they're the best team in the NBA right now, the number 1 overall record, and I think the Jazz win this in 6. I think the Clippers are able to take 2 games just because of the star power they have and who they are, but I see the Jazz taking 6 here and taking it in 6 and moving on to the conference finals. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about the Denver Nuggets 3 seed versus the Phoenix Suns, who are 2nd seed. So, my Lord. When I look at it, I can't believe, kind of what I'm seeing. But at the same time, I guess I can, because I thought Trailblazers were going to come out of that series, but they didn't. But the Denver Nuggets are down 2-0 right now. And the Suns, the first 2 games were in Phoenix, and Chris Paul played well game 1 and game 2. Devin Booker played well in game 1, game 2. Jay Crowder's playing well. He's definitely doing well and definitely a vital piece of their offense. And they're just clicking. Chris Paul is being that point guard, and arguably, like everyone keeps saying, he's top 5 point guard of all time. And, I believe that. And like I said, I want to see him get a ring, and I think he can. And so even before seeing this 2-0, I mean, just wow. I mean, I don't know. I thought it would be tied 1-1, I guess, but it's not. So with the Suns being up 2-0, even before this, I would say that the Suns take this in. I said that you know what? They take it in 6. I started like that because I want to say with Jokic being the MVP and how they were able to come back, versus the Trailblazers and whatnot. Maybe the Nuggets make it to 7 games, but I don't think it's going to happen. Suns are clicking too much right now, playing too well. Yes, the Nuggets are back at home for Game 3, but I definitely see the Suns taking this and winning it in 6, or they'll win 4-2, just like the Nuggets were able to beat, or just like the Suns, were able to beat the Lakers in 6. So that's what you have for that. So I have the Suns moving on, playing the Jazz, and I'll get into that the next podcast. And the Hawks playing the Nets as well, and we'll see who can win the conference finals of the West and East to play in the NBA championship. And we will have a new champion crowned this year, so that is super exciting. The Heat lost in the first round, so the Lakers, sad to see, like I said, the Lakers lose. But, excuse me there, had some Pizza King for dinner. Woo! Some good stuff, guys. But anyways, just kind of crazy. The playoffs are always a crazy time. Playoff experience definitely plays a huge factor and a role in each series, and where who's on what team as well. So I know some of these teams have never won a championship. I saw the stat, but I can't remember who has and who hasn't. But like I said, there's going to be a new championship. I'm super excited about that. And I mean, if the first round was pretty good, I know the second round and third round, and even the finals should be good. I don't think the finals will be a blowout. I don't think it'll be a sweep or 4-1. I mean, I could see, hopefully the finals go in 6 games. I like that because, if all the other rounds are good, we definitely want to see the finals be good as well, because it's just fun to watch from a fan standpoint. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching this. Please like, subscribe, or comment what you guys think below of who's going to come out in the second round, and maybe a so on, or a champion if you want. But I'm just super excited to bring you guys this podcast, and glad that you guys listen and take in what I have to say. Sometimes my opinions can be wrong, and I'm not always correct. And that's the great thing about podcasts and just having opinions, is sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. So we'll just see what happens in these playoffs. And like I said, thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. And hopefully I do start the next podcast before the conference finals start, the Western Conference Finals and East Conference Finals start. But, we'll see just how it goes. And I'm really busy with school right now, and, trying to get that diploma to graduate Ball State University and go out into the workforce and contribute to society. So I'm super excited about that. I got a lot of positive things going in my life right now, and I hope everything's going well in your guys' life right now. And so with that being said, I will tune in, hopefully, depending on when this second round gets over with, maybe next week, and I will bring you guys more coverage.